Here with assistant coach Mario Wilson to talk about the multi-event events. On the men's side, you have quite a few, 5 of them, led by a experienced veteran, Christian Livornia. What have you seen from him over his career the last few years in terms of improvement?
Well, Christian Livornia is, the guy that I think everybody wants to coach. He's, basically a consummate professional. He's there every day, ready to work, great attitude. He takes instruction very well, but then he also has this ability to have the beat of what's going on within the group. So in terms of getting feedback, just having an idea as to, where the group's at, I think, reaching out to Christian has been something that's been a benefit to me as a coach. This is his 4th year with the team. Obviously, he's a leader, I think we're expecting him to be, the guy that kind of carries the torch in the multi-group this year. Based on his experience, he's competed at multiple ACC championships in the multis, and I think he's pretty excited about the group that we have, and can't wait for him to have a great 4th year.
You have 2 other returners. Anthony Donovan had a very strong first year last year, and John Michael Pirtle, who had a good year 2 years ago and then had a sit-out last year. What do you expect from them in their second seasons competing?
Right, Anthony Donovan, out of Tennessee, a great pedigree, a very experienced multi. Even though he's a second-year student, he did it, in high school, and he had, some pretty good success, especially indoors last year. Basically for us, our expectation, for Anthony is that, he's a year older, a year more experienced, basically, he has some pretty lofty goals, in the heptathlon and decathlon. So, in terms of where we see him, we're looking for, a big contribution for him, at the ACC level, and then potentially, get again on that leadership board, for the NCAA. John Michael, he had to take last year off, basically redshirted, and in that year, he did a great job, assisting me, as a coach, basically. Did a lot of video, was able to share a lot of input. He himself is very experienced because his dad is one of the all-time great decathletes here at UVA, so he knows a lot about all the events, and he just has a good eye for the event. So even though he took a year off last year, I think he still grew as an athlete. So his expectations are pretty high, and I think with Anthony, and then Christian Livornia, I think they just offer great leadership for our 2 newcomers in the group for a group of 5.
You mentioned the 2 newcomers. What are you expecting from them as they enter the program?
Yeah, so Jack Lint, very highly touted recruit out of Ohio, a world youth participant in the octathlon 2 years ago, high school All-American last year in a decathlon, and also a very accomplished 400 hurdler. So he's very versatile, brings a lot of experience in the event, and just has a motor. He competed at a high level in high school and expects to be at the same level as a collegian right away. So for him, there is no such thing as transition. It's just, keep the ball moving. We're pretty excited about Jack. And then, basically we have a kind of like a mystery man. Cam Collins, he is a transfer from a D3 school. And, basically ran, was a state champ in the 800 at the high school level, ran a pretty good quarter, but, he was a basketball player in prep school and college, and, contacted us early last year and expressed an interest in a decathlon, and started, dabbling with some of those events, unattached last year, and I think he's just got a huge upside. He's a rangy kid, he's got size, he's got strength, he's got maturity about him, he knows what he wants to do, and he's willing to give up his number 1 sport, which was basketball, and I think, who knows what's going to happen with Cam, but, in terms of his training, he's picked up, pretty much all the events right away. So we're pretty excited about him.
You only have one women's multi-event athlete, Holly Sullivan, a newcomer. What are you seeing from her this year?
Right. So Holly Sullivan, one of the best multi event athletes out of the state of Pennsylvania. Very versatile athlete in high school. Unfortunately didn't have a senior year, due to injury. So she had some setbacks. Pretty much, I think ran one meet indoors last year, and then sat out the rest of the year with injury. So her recovery, from injury, was highlighted by, I think she ran one race in the summer, ran a really good 400 hurdle time. But for us, we look at her as being one for the future. So more than likely we're not going to have her compete indoors in the pentathlon, but we'll probably open her up outdoors in the heptathlon. And she's been training well. She's learning some nuances in events that she's probably not as experienced in, but she has motor. She trains very hard. And she's great in the classroom, and because of those things, I think she's gonna be one of our best.